We're live. Okay, cool. The live still hasn't shown up on my thing yet. I can't click on that, I guess.
That's just the thumbnail. That's in the community tab. It's ready. It's on.
Yeah, no, I'm just waiting for people to come in. Trying to get to where I can see comments and stuff. There it is. Okay.
Who has a better number, Ben?
Okay, there's people in there. Well, there's a lot of people in there.
Mm-hmm.
74. Okay. Hey, y'all.
You want to turn the volume down on your phone?
I would love to. Let me turn the volume down on this. Hey, y'all. I do need to turn it up when I have a special thing that I'm going to do from Matok about Parliament today. So I'll turn it back up for that, but I'll turn it back down for everything else.
Turn what up?
I'm going to play the What's Up from Matok.
Oh, yeah. I was just, if you stay in the live chat and you want to keep it going, it's going to actually play the feed. So I was just telling you to turn it down for that. Right now, you have it on pause.
Oh, should I play?
I mean, it's up to you if you want to see the people in the chat.
Yeah, I do.
Like, you want to see up-to-date chat.
Yeah, I do. I would like to see that if that's possible.
Right. So when you have to come up out of there when you get ready to play the thing. And then adjust the volume then.
Okay. Hey, y'all. You ready to start?
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot to do. Not much time to go through it. Got an hour. Ladies first. Okay. Hey, y'all. Hope you guys popped some popcorn. Hope you guys got something to drink. Hope you had a chance to think about today's title, which is called A Break in the System. And it's exactly that. I'm going to present today nothing but news. So I'll tell you guys now, there's going to be no deep intel. No, there's none of that tonight. It's just going to be straight news because that's what's happening. That's what the real intel is. It's going to tell you exactly what's going on. No, and all y'all out there that's hating on Mr. Brando, stop calling me a guru. Call me anything, but don't call me a guru. Call me a muru, call me a shoe room, call me a boo room, but don't call me a guru. I am not a guru. I'm just a person just like you guys out here reading the news. So tasty, so delicious. Go ahead.
I am April BB.
And I am Mr. Brando. And we are back with the reinstatement of the Iraqi Dinar IQD. Now, first things first. So let's get some things out of the way. First of all, there is not going to be any deep intel chat room or any of that crap. I was saying that to get rid of you trolls. It seemed like more trolls came of it because they're like, you're a guru and you're full of crap. But whatever. You guys can say whatever. I'm still going to report the news and we're going to go on from there. Welcome everybody that showed up early, who came and got a seat. Today's show is called Breaking the System. And breaking the system is very important because I think I got to get a little ahead of this. Breaking the system to me, I have a lot of friends out there that believe in Q. So they read code and I don't read code. I don't understand how they do it, but they read code. I have a lot of friends out there that believe in prophecy, and I don't prophesize anything, but I believe in there's a higher meaning to everything, and that our Lord above us judges us and will look at us upon us for our truths and our untruths, and that you will be judged by that by one day. I do believe that the code is also the system, and the system to me means how do these currencies hold value or not hold value based upon a certain criteria that if we could crack that code, that's the system that needs to be broken so that you understand what the value of a currency is or what not a value of a currency is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start off with news. Do you have any questions or anything so far? Just the news, sir? Is that what you want? Just the news?
Mm-hmm.
Ms. BB's a little sleepy tonight, y'all, so I'm going to try to make it brief. First of all, the head of the parliamentary bloc. Now, first of all, I got to tell you all this. So after we go through this, we're going to go through a special report, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a teaser right now. If any of you want to go out there and download the BTI report for Iraq for 2018, that's what we're going over this evening because that is the most pertinent thing that I have found in the news. I'm not going to talk about the wall. I'm not going to talk about Brexit. I mean, a little bit. I'm going to talk about exactly what's going on in Iraq and why I feel like now there's a real break in the system. And I'm also going to share with you what my friend from Iraq told me at 7 something this morning. And I will let you guys know what's going on. The head of the parliamentary bloc of parliamentary blocs, Mohammed Khalid, on Saturday, the Parliamentary Finance Committee held several meetings this day, and the representative of those blocs discussed amendments to the budget law. The budget law is very, very important because the budget's important because if they have a budget, they've got to adhere to it. The deficit's important, and I'll talk about that in the BTI report. But it's important because those amendments to that law are going to affect how our investment rules to us. The investment is everything, and the budget is a little off because of the falling global oil prices, and they're basing it all off $56 a barrel. I happen to believe that behind, everything, they already knew it was $56 a barrel. If you guys have gone to your gas pumps, and I know April Beebe loves to pay guess the gas price or tell me your gas price, everything's kind of stabilized right now. I saw gas as cheap as $1.65. I saw gas as high as $1.72. But you're starting to see now the oil prices, because of the OPEC stuff, is starting to stabilize. That's a key indicator because remember, Iraq is a key component to OPEC, and OPEC is a big component to the oil and gas industry around the world. And it is about 90%, I believe, of their total GDP. So there goes oil, there goes everything, okay? So the nomination of Ivanka Trump to the World Bank. Now, let's define what the World Bank does, and let's define what the IMF does. What the World Bank does, if you look at their charter, it tells you that the World Bank's job is to help eliminate poverty to impoverished countries at a reduced rate of loan. They loan money to countries to help them get rid of poverty and substantiate the wealth of a country through loans. Okay, they don't have anything to do with rates. They have nothing to do with dates. They have everything to do with how they loan money to these countries. The world's biggest benefactor of that is the US of A. Second is China. Okay, so the guy that was in place for China was an Obama appointee, and if you notice, he was an Asian fellow, but his main factor in doing everything was helping Asia. It seems to me that I looked at it was helping Asia get to the global power that it was, because without those loans from the World Bank, it didn't matter. So Trump's saying that, hey, look, we'd like to get Ivanka Trump in there. And the Treasury Department has received the names of potential candidates to succeed Kim Jong-kim as the president of the World Bank, including the daughter of the U.S. president and his advisor, Ivanka Trump. That in no way, in my opinion, helps us because we already are the world's benefactor of their loans. The only thing that it could do is if they're an adversary of America, stop them from being able to get those loans and put our friends in power. Okay. Dispute of the cabinet formation, and the dispute of the cabinet formation came to an end today. So that was breaking news on Saturday, and I tell everybody all the time, you can't ever truly worry about the cabinet because we've always believed that things were happening behind the scenes. And today I got breaking news from my friend, and he told me this.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you? No, nothing today, but
Oh, that's not it. Right here, y'all.
is it
Oops.
cousin
Sorry, technical difficulty.
to pass all the ministers at the end of this month? So they have a deal to cancel or to change Farid Al-Fayyad to another ministry or other, or to give him other something, maybe BMU, head of BMU forces.
So for all of you that couldn't hear that clearly, what Matak told us, my friend out of Iraq said was, today was a day that they decided to remove Al-Fayyad from the Ministry of Interior and to give him another ministry position. So what does that tell you? All the time we've told you that we knew they were going to remove him anyway, but those political blocs have all taken their positions. They've got someone in mind. It may not be the person I recommended earlier, but someone is in mind to take over that position, and it will not be Fayyad. What does that do for our investment? So goes the Interior, and I will show you that through the report. So goes how the government spending goes, and so goes a lot of things that have to do with Iraq. So by his removal, it's very, very important because his removal means that now everything's going forward. A lot of you guys come back and ask me, when do you think this is going to go? When are you going to think this go? I told you guys, my position on that was when you had a seated government, they could touch that donor conference money, and I'm going to get to that also, and some other factors. I can't remember all of it right now, but I told you those two things: a seated government, and they can touch that donor conference money. My friend just told you that absolutely that's happening, and it's happening right now. So they are going to decide on, and I'm already telling you guys this now. They've already decided on who's going to be the Minister of Interior. They've already decided on the Minister of Education. They've also decided already on the Minister of Defense. They stalled out, I think, because of some various reasons, and I will tell you those reasons in a few moments. So this article, even though it was dated on Saturday, is already obsolete. They've already decided who's going to be there. Now, the delays have put us in kind of a bad position because it's already wasted a lot of the time of the new government that's been put in place. However, this quorum, if they can get it together by the end of the month, accelerates our time frame as investors, and I will share it with you in a few minutes. The Parliament's economy is setting a shocking news. The government does not have plans to supply electricity in the summer. Now, remember, we've talked about basic human necessity in Iraq, one being water, one being electricity. Right here on Saturday, they're telling us that they have no plans on getting anything done by the summertime for electricity. Now, we all know that not to be true. These guys are very calculated. I'm going to show you guys why they've had some visits, some very important dignitaries, and what's going to happen by the summertime, if not there before. All of it very, very important because basic human necessity is what they've been, I guess, asking for, what they've been striving for, what they've been trying to get accomplished for so very, very long. And so now you know that they said, hey, look, on Saturday, we're not going to be able to get this done by the summertime. But watch. Habusi said, we're going to keep holding parliamentary sessions now until the completion of the budget. Now, here's something funny. Why wouldn't he say that for the completion of the cabinet? Or why wouldn't he say that completion of basic necessities? Because in my opinion, this is my opinion now, because those things have already been negotiated and done. The thing they're focused on now is truly the budget, because the budget has a deficit based upon how much oil they can pump per year. And that deficit's also going to go to different priorities. I'm going to show you where those priorities are going to. But all those things that we were worried about are basically done behind the scenes. Remember, they're not a true democracy in the sense of everything's voted on amongst the masses and they go through, hey, I vote for this, I vote for that. They still negotiate within blocks. And when those blocks have a cohesiveness, that's when things get done. But I can already tell you that they've already told you they're not done with the CBI. Now they're telling they're done with the Interior Ministry. The Interior of Education will be an easy one, and the Interior of Defense will be an easy one because they were never up for debate. So that was the whole holdup. And now that's going to be completed. They'll do a release at the end of the month, and that release tells you guys that it's already been done, and they already know who they're going to recommend, and they're already going to put them in place. So don't worry about anymore where the CBI is going. I'm telling you now, that was a major factor for me from seeing this go forward. I think that's a huge breakthrough for us, and that's part of the system being broke. It's broke because what we didn't understand before was we thought everything had to be public and very transparent because that's what they keep talking about. But in reality, it's not very public. It's very secretive. It's still very secretarian. You're going to hear that language later on when I read this BTI report. But they do these things still behind the scenes and behind the shadows because they don't want speculation to occur to have a run on their currency. It makes sense. Skip that one. Now, this was on Sunday. The parliamentary agenda for today, which was yesterday. The tables include the first reading of the First Amendment law, the law of Iraq Funds Recovery Fund, and the Law Commission of Integrity and the Corporate Law Amendment. That law, the corporate law, and it's commonly referred to as the Companies Act law, was originally intended to drive the state-owned companies towards a more private sector influence. Later on in the BTI report, it's going to describe to you why it's very, very important that everything goes from what we call state-owned entities to private sector entities, and how the bank includes with those entities all comes together with one more small component. And I'll talk to you guys about that in a few seconds. With that small component, which gives the currency a true value, a nominal value, a value that they have a number to, that they've had a number to, that we didn't know as investors because we didn't know exactly where to look. We've all speculated on what the number is, but they're going to tell us in plain sight what the number is based upon an independent company from Germany. So it tells us a couple things about being an investor. Number one, Iraq needs outside investors for long term. That means they need people like Chevron, GE, Siemens. They need all these companies to come into Iraq and pour money into it, but they need the ability to not only have banking laws, but investment laws in place that where they can have free capital flow and get it in and out. But they've already told you that they've already read the law. In my opinion, the law is already done, and it makes sense because if the law wasn't done, why would they put it in print? Now, the next article, which is very unique, is the government decides to restructure state-owned public companies. Cabinet Secretary said the statement received a copy of the news. The committee comprises ministers oil, electricity, which is huge. Oil, electricity, trade, industry, mining, communications, transport, hosting, and ministers other ministries. The commission will adopt a comprehensive vision on how to deal with state-owned companies approved by Council of Ministers resolution for the year and familiarize themselves with the charter of the government and state-owned non-financial corporations in Iraq. So basically what they're trying to tell you is the decision comes as an implementation plan of large economic reforms that include public companies, organizational units operate according to the principles of market economy, which is key. Market economy, not state-owned economy, market economy. That means that it's going from the state to the private sector, which all adds to the budget. Remember, we talked about they're trying to pass the budget because a budget is a bill. It takes away from the finance, which adds that component I'm going to tell you about. But as they have this whole budget going, and as they have the ability to get people off of state-owned monies and onto private sector monies, if they stimulate those monies, you will see a raise in value because now you don't have all these debts. It's kind of like your household. If you eliminate your bills and you get cash good, then you don't worry about paying your bills and you can do other things with it, such as vacation, such as buy a car, buy a vacation home, do things that are right for you instead of doing things that you have to do, okay? When the IMF spoke of restructuring, they said this was still taking place. The Iraqi citizens are still being restricted as far as the freedoms of having their salaries deposited of the banks of their choosing. So that tells you right there, we talked about them moving everything from state-owned to private sector. The banking sector is no different. They want to take everything from state-owned banks to the private sector. That's why I told you guys last time those brokerage firms were bitching and complaining. They want to take everything from the state-owned banks and give it to the private sector banks to allow better inclusion with the citizens. So if I want to bank with Bank of America and you want to bank with Chase, there's not a problem. We don't have to go to the Bank of Iraq or the CBI to get our money out of it, which makes sense. That creates trust and transparency, meaning that I know that if I go to the CBI, I'm going to get one rate. If I go to my bank of my choice, it's going to be another rate. If I go here, it's going to be the same rate. They know that now that opens up a free market economy. Does that make sense? Remember, we talked about it. A bank's job is to do two things: accept deposits and to loan money. Now, they do other things too, but those are their two main factors. It's kind of like a church. A church is to get new members in and to retain the members they have. That's it. It's all a church does, okay? I'm not trying to simplify it to something silly, but I'm trying to simplify it to where it makes sense to everybody, okay? Our meeting with the Minister of Industry came to develop the public and private sectors. Now, this talks about right here in a press conference held in the House of Representatives, participation of the Minister of Industry. We just talked about that. An article ago, they said he was a part of a big trade thing. The Minister of Industry needed to privatize or decentralize what he was trying to do. Bring it to the private sector. The committee stressed that the minister needs to restore the rehabilitation of all industries, institutions, and all provinces, and I don't know what that word is. What's that word?
Abolish
of the integration of all companies. Protect the public and private national product to promote the productivity reality and eliminate unemployment. The private sector eliminates unemployment, right? Which adds to more income, which gets them off the budget, which gives them more money with freedom of choice, which gives them transparency to do what they want, right? Without having a big budget and you have more cash because it's now it's distributed correctly, you have more money in your budget to free it up to do more things like start looking for people that are corrupt. Get it? Because without that transparency and without that liquidity and without that availability and without that trust, now you start to say, well, we're not afraid of Maliki. We're not afraid of Amiri. We're not afraid of the Iran militias. Now we're able to see where we don't have to be scared for our lives. We're not under threat all the time. So the Mossad revealed the existence of some 12,000 corruption files since 2003. Now, everybody's been asking me, well, Brandon, Mr. Brando, what about these corruption files? These corruption files are major, and yes, they are. Now, I showed you guys one article that said, hey, look, we're going to not do anything about corruption from this day forward. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why these files are important, these files need a strong political will to open it and be accountable to the parties behind them. The money that was embedded through these files are enough to rebuild Iraq. Now, you already knew that, and that's not the point. But this is why they can't go after those people. The commission does not have the authority to close the files or take any action to activate the file, but criminal cases are the exclusive judiciary of the often heard this speech under the name, which is a disgrace for health for those who do ignorance of basic rule of law and procedures. But it ignores most basic. Remember, everything in Iraq is under Islamic law. Stealing is wrong, embezzlement is wrong, cheating your country is wrong. So they've already told you, if it's not what they call exclusionary, there's really nothing they can do about it. But if it's criminal, they can go after them with reckless abandonment. And you're going to see that they're going to do that in the next couple of days and weeks. But they have to have some transparency, and they have to weaken those militias because the people fear the militias like they do gangs. And they have to promote themselves to a point where you say, well, I'm not afraid to go to the bank to get my money because I'm not going to get robbed. I'm not afraid to deposit my money in the bank because they're not going to steal it. I'm not afraid to go to do this or do that because I now am a free and sovereign citizen. But those things take time, and they've done all these things, and they're doing them now. The central bank reveals total amounts awarded to small and medium enterprise. So now if you get the citizens going to the bank and they feel free to do so, now the bank is saying to you, look, we're going to give you loans. We're going to give you loans from a couple different perspectives. We want to go ahead and loan money out to proportion of commercial sector, which is private, to services, which is electronic, industrial, agricultural. So they're trying to give out loans from anywhere from 34 banks to 33 private banks. So now they're not just giving everything to state-owned employees. They're giving things to private banks, which includes the private sector. So they're telling you, hey, look, we're trying to stimulate this and give loans out from anywhere, I think, from $50 million dinars. It could reach $100 million dinars. I know that's not a lot of money at this point, but that $100 million dinar mark does need the approval by the central bank. So the central bank is still doing what? Monitoring the note count. Because if they put too much cash out there, it devalues your currency. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how all these things take place? The note and the note count are important. That's why they want everything inside of the banking, because then it becomes electronic, and electronic money, and hard cash are two different things. Okay? If there's any questions along the way that need addressing, we can address them as we go.
Well, this individual says, Mr. Brando, your friend John, I believe, stated before, is a part of a private group and supposed to be liquid on the 15th, tomorrow. Is that still expected as of now?
I'm not going to speak for John, but on my part, I'm going to say no. He was talking about the liquidity of Zimbabwe, and I have an article that I'll go back and read you a minute. I don't have to read it. Zimbabwe's already come out and told you guys didn't see this, that they're not going to come out with a new currency for basically until next year. They are going to come out with a new currency, but that liquidity would not happen by the 15th, in my opinion. John's opinion can be different, and I'm not getting on John. I'm just saying, based upon the news that I've read, that is not true. So, no, the liquidity would come from Zimbabwe to hydrate the banks. That's not going to happen by tomorrow. I can tell you that right now. It's not. The Iran embassy in Baghdad has announced the holding of a joint economic synopsis between Iraq and Iran traders and investors headed by the Iraqi minister. Why would Iran keep trying to put their foothold inside of Iraq? Because if they can get them to trade not off the dollar, because all Iran wants is Iraq's dollars. They don't want their dinar. But if Iraq forces them to trade in the dinar, it actually raises the value of the dinar. So there's a big struggle right now between them and a couple other entities I'm going to get to that is going to help raise the value of the dinar, because I'll show you where people don't necessarily want their currency. They want other services that they have. But Iran is still after the dollar, because after this month, their trade agreement's up. Iran is isolated and by itself. That's why Israel went ahead and said, look, we're going to open up our largest port to you. We'll help you get your oil out of the country. You don't have to go through Iran. That's why Qatar said, we're going to invest money in you. That's why Jordan said, we're going to give you electricity. Because what basically the Middle East countries are saying is, we're going to isolate Iran, bring them to their knees, cause them to renegotiate, thus the whole time raising the value of the dinar, because it's not going to be a liquidity crisis. It's all going to be electronic because they're forcing people to the banks. It all makes perfect sense.
What's your take on Pompeo's visit?
Pompeo's visit was crucial, and so was Trump, to let them know that Iraq does not stand alone. And we'll pop in and out of that country as needed, and it will keep them on their toes. His visit, the Secretary of Energy's visit, Jordan's king going in there is huge. It shows you the real validity of why Iran sent their trade minister in there and their foreign delegates in there, because everybody wants Iraq to get to the table. And whoever gets their foothold in there the strongest will be the victor. I'm just telling you, because everything's about energy. This is all about energy. That's all it's about.
World Bank lends money to countries knowing that they can't pay it back, then take over impoverished countries.
No, the World Bank loans them monies at a specialized rate. Now, it does put them in debt. That's what happened to Kuwait. Kuwait revalued their currency and got into debt. Iraq is going to borrow all the money they need to strengthen infrastructure, revalue their currency, and pay everything off. Now, I'm not disagreeing with you that they don't put people in debt, but it's a specialized rate. I don't agree with it, but that's the way it works. Now, the meeting was attended by the Ministry of Trade. We talked about that. Jordan is going to be treated as a contractor. Jordan coming in and treating as a contractor adds to the validity of the tax-free existence as them doing business inside of Iraq. Why would Jordan go into Iraq and want to be treated as a contractor? Because they're going to build an electronical grid, and they're also going to help them rebuild their whole housing structure. A big article today was Jordan's king comes into Iraq and says, we're going to help you rebuild your whole housing structure. Now, why would they do that for a country that's money is worth way less than theirs? Way less. Because they see the upside, not the downside, the upside, and they see it quickly. Believe you me, people don't invest money in you if you're a loser. They're only going to do that so long. They're going to invest money in you, but they want their money out. Okay? The oil market company Sumo announced on Sunday that Iraq kept the official sale price of Basra Light crude to Asia. So now, look, now they're not worried about selling goods and services or trading with Iran. Now they're into the Asian markets. They're already into the American markets because that was why Pompeo was there. Pompeo said, look, we want to sign a ton of new deals with you guys. We want to get rocking and rolling as fast as possible because we want to get our foothold in Iraq, not Iran. Iran's going in there and saying, well, look, we already got electric with you guys, but when we get mad at you, we're going to cut your electricity off. We're going to stop your ability to use our port. Do you see? Would you do business with someone that's a punk about something? They don't want to do right by you? Or would you do business that wants your money? They want to do trade with you. They're inviting you in and you're in open arms. That's the key. The official price of the crude was about $3 less than everybody else. And that's how they got the contract to do. Sumo's going to buy oil at a discounted price from Iraq. And that's also going to stimulate their economy. Okay, now here's a big one. The World Bank expects the growth rate of Iraq to rise exponentially in 2019. Now, you're talking about a worthless currency with basically one of only a couple things available, right? Oil, that's it right now, right? But it's available to do a couple more things. So why would the World Bank tell you that they're going to have one of the biggest rises and be one of the top economic countries in the world? I'm going to address this real quick because of the revaluation of Iraq. A lot of you guys sent me this. This article is from 2014. So even back then, they anticipated the importance of a new system there. That's why the system, it was broke back then, but it's breaking now because it's breaking barriers amongst Arab nations, and it's not making it a competition thing. It's making a cooperative thing, and that's good for everybody. Once they isolate Iran, it's going to stimulate everything else. I'm not going to read the revaluation thing. Currency exchange. We already talked about that. Paris Agreement, which was huge today. France did say they were going to give or loan Iraq money, but before they said they were going to loan them a thing, under the Paris Agreement, they said they were going to give them debt forgiveness so they don't owe, Iraq doesn't owe Paris a thing. Again, if you got debt and you got a currency, I'm going to share with you how they work hand in hand. They welcome Americans. It's more true. They don't want Americans out of Iraq. That's not true. They want us there to protect them because they're afraid of the militias. They're also afraid of ISIS. And I got that text message. I understand that, but I've got a few more articles to go through. We talked about the Paris Agreement. Now, let's talk about credit rating. Iraq's credit rating for 2018 was a B minus minus, and it was considered stable. Okay. The reason why I bring that up is because we're talking about systems and we're talking about how they're broken. So Iraq is a B minus and considered stable. Let's look at Vietnam. Now, Iraq officially is a B minus, CAA1, which is close to a B minus, and its forecast is a B minus. Vietnam, and this is just showing you a comparison, okay? It doesn't mean anything but a comparison. They're a B minus, but their middle one is a BA3, and they're a BB and considered more than stable, okay? Important economic decisions to be expected by Iraq. There's a bunch of incentives because they have to go ahead and get the investor money out there. They have to get it going. They have to get it rolling. The credit rating is crucial because if I didn't share the credit rating, none of this will make sense in a sentence. Go ahead.
Sylvie says, don't forget to talk about last year's rate or value of the IQD, please.
Okay, great point. So let's get to the topic at hand. Let's get to the BTI report, okay? The BTI report is the report that's put out by a governmental agency which tells you all about Iraq, okay? It tells you fundamental things about a status index, an economic transformation, a political transformation, and a governance, okay? It's from Bertram Striphon Transex, BTI 2018. It's from 2015 to 2018. It goes over population growth, the summary. The part that I wanted to go over with you guys is about trade. Iraq is a rentier state. The economy has been dominated by the oil sector, which historically has generated more than 99% of exporting earnings and 8% of foreign exchange earnings. In contrast, the agricultural productivity has continuously declined. What did I just tell you before? Now they're trying to get from a rentier status to a donor status because they're trying to stimulate their private sector and get them off of the governmental budget money and onto privatized money. Okay, so that 99% is going to change. We know a little bit about the politics, about to shift from Maliki to Abadi. And here. Remember earlier I told you that Islam is official religion and it's also official law. The Federal Supreme Court Act currently under discussion would place 4 Islamic scholars of the Supreme Court. That means that they cannot go against Islamic law against anything else. So the law of Islam is the law over the country, but they've already told you that they have no secular law over those people that have broken the law unless it is criminal. And that tells you why, because it's under that. Let me get you this one point. I want to read you guys something. Increasing tension parties. Root of law. Let's get to the juicy part. Page 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's see here. Oh, hang on here. 19, 20. There you go. Thank you, sir. Okay, the banking law. The CBI needed a law which had to enable them to get away from the rule of the old CBI until where they just voted in the last year to where they were independent, right? So, in that, the banks mostly do not abide by international transparency, and recommendations are often used for financing national priorities and public spending. The two biggest public banks, Rashid and Rafidian, have been audited according to the International Finance Report. And remember, they got that international security. Now, the monetary policy. So this is the important part, okay? Where is it? Okay, I'm going to read you this paragraph. The government's monetary policy since 2003 has focused on maintaining the price and stability of the exchange rate predictability. The inflation has remained in the low since 2010. Remember, everybody's always talked about having to keep in compliance with that 2%. Well, they've maintained an inflation rate of basically 1.4, and that's an estimate, while the World Bank has them at 1.2. International reserve volumes have been decreased due to the sharp decline in oil prices. The independence of the CBI suffered a setback in 2011, while former Prime Minister Maliki won a court ruling and placed independent institutions, including the CBI, under the control of the cabinet. The dinar in 2012, the exchange rate was going to be $1.19, causing a huge crisis. And this is what got Dr. Shabibi put in jail and got a 7-year sentence in absentia in 2014. So they were going to revalue the currency in 2012. Most of you guys were dinar holders. So listen, even in 2012, you weren't going to get $10. It maybe could substantiate that on a float, but they've already told you in 2012, that was what? 6 years ago? Now you got to take it into account inflation and all the resources they've come into place. But you knew that the currency was worth $1.19. The difference between the official and the parallel exchange increased from 3% to 2005 to 9% to 2016. The CBI introduced a number of policies to keep inflation low. The dinar remained widely stable and was worth $1.71 in early 2017. Now, if you take that for what it's worth, the dinar in 2017 didn't have sweet crude, didn't have the gold reserve, didn't have the gold, didn't have the infrastructure, wasn't off all of those different watch lists. Israel wasn't open to them. You can only speculate what the value of the currency is in 2019. My speculation is $2 and probably 50 cents to $2.80. Now, this is where me and a bunch of my compadres differ. I think that is an in-country rate because that's a nominal value, correct? You can only speculate what $2.50 in-country means to $2.50 out of country. I'm not saying that's 100% true, but I am saying that's up for debate because this report never says which one is true. Now, to substantiate what I'm saying, the debt to a sustainable level, along with debt relief negotiations, i.e. France, i.e. all these people out there that are giving them debt agreement, under the Paris Agreement, the debt had to be reduced by $800 million annually. While the non-Paris Club creditors are still ongoing in an attempt to ease the financial burden in Iraq, members of the Paris Club agreed to postpone debt through the end of 2019. Now, here's the kicker. This is where you break the damn system. If you could somehow get rid of your debt or postpone it, and you know it's worth about $2 and some change with all that debt, what exactly the value is the dinar today? No bullshit, no guru stuff. That is gospel. Okay? You ask me all day long what it's worth, I just gave it to you. Listen to me. I'll say it one more time. If the Paris Agreement telling all these countries to forgive their debt, we know that it was worth $1.71 in 2017. We can only speculate that it's worth $2.25 to $2.50 today, right?
Frankie says it's going to be less than Kuwaiti dinar, Kuwait's dinar, he's thinking $2.40. Jordan and Turkey just signed big contracts with Iraq. We're almost there.
I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. I disagree with you because pre-war times, Iraq was at $3.20-something. That took no account in inflation or the stuff that they have now. That money will be worth more. It will be. It will be. It has to be. It has to be.
Metroid says, how can the RBRI happen if they still have corrupt people in power, still just like old countries like Zimbabwe and others? Because
corruption's everywhere. Corruption's in the government you live in, and we abide by all the rules that we have here. There's corruption everywhere. But it has nothing to do with the monetary reform policy of Iraq, which is to decrease debt, increase your credit rating, which has everything to do with the way the IMF values your currency. That's it. You want me to break the damn system? It's broke. Decrease your debt. That's the Paris Agreement. Increase your private sector, which gives people off your budget. That gives a nominal value to your currency. And you know that the currency was worth $1.71. So now what's it worth? $2.25 to $2.50 in country. What's the out of country rate? Remember, if you take $1 to Mexico, it's worth X. If you take $1 to Britain, it's going to be worth Y. That's why the Brexit's so important, because Britain's going to go through some type of valuation also. Okay?
Yeah. I'm going to start an FAQ section on Mr. Brando's page on Facebook. And on that thread, I'll pin it to the top. And then you guys can leave your frequently asked questions. Visit there. There seems to be some controversy in the chat.
Okay, y'all. We'll do that real quick. Frequently asked questions to there. If you have a question about the BTI report, credit rating, or something that has to do with this topic right now, hit me with it. I'm open for discussion for the next 20 minutes, 25 tops.
Gary wants to know, Capriano, is that his name?
Pepperoni.
So he believes that there's not going to be a RB or RI.
Yeah, that's going to go on a flea market rate and blah, 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 blah. Now, this guy, okay, here's my take on that. If it was going to do that, they could have done that a long time ago, and they didn't do that because they told the IMF that they wanted to reinstate their currency, not float their currency. They could have been doing that. They have to depeg it from the dollar, peg it to the STR basket, and let it float as high as it wants to. We know that was done in Kuwait, and it went as high as $12. And that's what put Kuwait in debt. So his version of it to me is bullshit. And he wants to sell more subscriptions. So you can take your favorite guru's idea, but it's not comprehensive to what the report says.
Okay.
It's not. It doesn't jive. So obviously he's been in this for a long time, but he didn't read this report, or he couldn't read it, or he just simply didn't read it. Next question.
I don't have any right now. I'm sorry.
Do you guys want to call in? You know the number.
Didn't you get some text questions?
I didn't get any text today. Let me see.
I mean, just now.
No, that was Mr. Fraser telling me to look out for certain things. Okay. Sylvia, the value of okay, I'll give you an example. This is for Sylvia. The value of a currency in country, $1 is $1. But if I take your dollar to Venezuela, it might be worth $100. That creates a market. The more people in that market, the demand goes up. That's called supply, okay? As that supply heats a certain velocity, that's where your exchange rates go, and that's where you know how much the currency is worth on an open market, okay? Just because it's worth X in a country doesn't mean it's worth Y in a country, positive or negative. That's why you can see the Iraqi dinar on Forex, right? Because it's not international, it's not traded. The potential's there to either be worth more or less, and on that spread, you're able to make and lose money on. Make sense? I'm hitting play. 3 zeros, yes, I can. The 3-0 note's going to come off the exchange rate. Right now, the exchange rate is 0.00484. That means if you cut the zeros off, it'd be 0.84. The deletion of the 3 zeros is not off the currency, off the note value. It's off the exchange value. It's totally different. And that value is going to rise nominally because it's worth more. That's why they wanted to get it to 120. They want to get to 0.00012, not 84. Remove the 30 or 0.0012. Move the 3 zeros over, it's 0.0012. $1.20 to 1. That's in country. They've told us that a million times. Yeah, Maliki's still trying to get his boys jobs. Of course he is, but he's being froze out because, remember, the state went in there and told everybody the other day that they're going to go in and take all those government agencies and take them away. So he's going to have to find a new place to live. Hello, you're on the air. Hello? Okay. Hello? You there?
Hello?
Hello? Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good. So my name's Pat. Is it Brando?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Ms. BB, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey, so my question was, so I know there was a couple people that were saying that they might come out at an initial rate at 2 or 3 or whatever, it is, and then may float it, or if they come out and they go international with the current rate that they have now, which is I think 11.90, that's shown on the CBI website. Now, if they do that and they start floating it from there, hypothetically, wouldn't that just mean like people who know that now it's unleashed, I guess you could say? Wouldn't it just mean people who have lots of money just going crazy and just buy up the dinar as much as they can?
Absolutely. That's why that's not true. And remember, the CBI wants to get the 3-0 notes off the streets. So if you're a speculator like George Soros or Warren Buffett, what's stopping from you and going over and dropping $1 billion and bankrupting the country like George Soros did Great Britain a few years ago?
Right. Because I mean, these military contacts and all of these people who are, the higher ups that they know directly, like right from the street, what's happening. They can just make phone calls to their other contacts who have a lot of money.
Absolutely. That's why that makes no sense. You're absolutely right. It makes zero sense. They're not going to do that.
Right. So that was like, I just wanted to think of if I'm the only one thinking this or
no. I'm with you, Patrick. I'm with you 150%. Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Thanks.
Hey, man, we appreciate you, and thank you so much for your time and comment.
All right, thank you.
Like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Oh, boy, this thing's moving now. So what's the 3 zeros about job? I just answered that. No, hey, Major, they had time to get it done, but they didn't have everything done to get it done. So no, you're wrong. You guys got to understand, this country's only been practicing democracy for 15 years. So you mean a quarter into it, they're supposed to have the, awesome banking laws and the awesome logistics that this country has and had the benefit of it for many years under the central bank government system like the Rockefellers and everybody else? They're not that damn sophisticated. These people weren't having that much great luck under Saddam, and they surely weren't having it under the first couple regimes like Maliki, who raped and pillaged the CBI. So no, they didn't have 5 to 10 years to get it done. They've had 5 to 10 years to get it prepared, and I'm surprised it got done that fast. Then we'll go broke with that rate. What rate? How? You can't prove it because you don't know what money's in circulation or out of circulations, not only by the country, but by other countries. And that rate came from a private equity group that investigated Iraq. So, and they do a BTI report for every country in the world. You can argue that with them, not me. Frank said he was going to just watch. Watch what? This is totally different than Kuwait. Totally different. Kuwait was debt-free before they got started, and now they're impoverished in debt because of an exchange. Y'all need to go out there and look at something called Khan Academy on reform. I mean, it explains everything and makes it so crystal clear. It's totally different.
Where would they find that?
On YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Just like you found me, you can find him.
Khan Academy?
Mm-hmm.
C-O-N.
Mm-hmm. K-A-H-N Academy. It explains the whole economic reform policy. It's called Reform for Dummies, basically. And I watched it the other day at work, and I was like, duh, I get it now. I get it. Your credit rating is kind of like your personal credit rating. People that take care of their credit typically pay their bills well. When you pay your bills well, you typically have your money in what? A surplus, not a deficit. That means your credit rating is a little bit better because you pay your bills on time and you got money in the bank. Mm-hmm. That has everything to do with a currency. Sorry, that's just common sense. I'm not going to hit you with purple dragons tonight. I'm not going to hit you with exchanging 15 currencies at one time. I'm going to hit you with one damn thing, and that's it. Common sense. Don't give me a dime. I don't want your money. I want your common sense. I want you to listen. If you have a surplus, you got good credit, your currency's worth more. I can show you that. Look at the currency. Go out there and look up the currency exchanges and see whose currency is worth more and what their credit ratings are. They're not below $1. None of them. In country. Out of country could be something else, but in country, they're all $1 for $1, basically. It's huge. He said, hey, Dwayne, go back to my last videos.
Yeah, they've already addressed that. That's what I was talking about, the FAQ. The FAQ post is now out there on the Facebook page, so go ahead and list your questions, and one of the moderators or Mr. Brando will respond.
Zymus, hey, Zymus. Go Ducks. Always go Ducks. Go Cougs. Why does it have to be less than Kuwait? Why? Hold on. I want to see that. Dinar, I'm thinking $2.40. Based upon what, Frankie? I'm not denying it, but based upon what? And call me on the line and ask. Let's talk about that. Jordan and Turkey. Yeah, Jordan's worth nothing. I think 27 cents or 71 cents. Turkey's even less. So I don't understand. And Iraq has so much more upside than downside. How can they RVRI and they still have corrupt? We've already answered that.
Yeah, you're
Lucas,
you're at like 926.
Okay. Oh, I'm way down, huh? Okay. Yeah. I'm catching up, y'all. I'm catching up. Mr. Brando, as well, Miss BB. I love you guys. And we love you, Rosella. Thank you.
If you do a currency exchange at a bank, is it given to you with a fee but no tax?
Okay, listen, I'm going to address that right now because John want me to address that. There is no taxable rate on a currency exchange. If you went to Great Britain and came back to America and exchanged your money at Bank of America, there is no tax. The only thing that they can tax with the taxes is called the spread. Now, that's the only negotiable thing that you have being a currency holding going to a bank. You don't want to go in there and say, I have an LLC and I want to deposit this money in my LLC.
What do you mean a spread? What do you mean?
A spread means the difference between what the money really costs the bank, what it really costs you, and their fees.
So that's the game.
That's the whole game. That's the sum total of your game.
So there will be capital gain tax, correct?
Not necessarily. In Article 39 of Article 13303, there never said anything about tax. He just said that we were entitled to invest in this country and blah, blah, blah. He never mentioned tax. If someone could produce where a tax is viable to this exchange, not investment. I'm not investing in a bank. I'm not investing in an LLC. I want to exchange my money for this. I'll allow you to hold my money until you can liquidate my account. I will beg to differ, but you can't show me that. I've looked.
But wouldn't that be just the same how they implemented that tax on the cryptocurrencies?
But you have to show me the legislation where they've done it.
I mean, I don't have it here in front of me, but that they did do an amendment last year.
Of course they did.
Because, of course, the government wants to make money.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So, you know, that anytime they see a group of people making a gain from anything, they're definitely going to find an avenue or way.
Of course they will. And I've heard rumors that if you hold your money in the bank for 6 months, cash out some and put it in one bank account, let it sit for 6 months, the money you touch the first 6 months is taxable. I've heard that too. But if you read those articles, 13303 and Article 39, there's nothing mentioned about tax. Mm-hmm. It's an exchange, just like any other exchange. Mm-hmm. If I go to Vietnam and buy 100 baht or 100 yen or whatever I'm buying, come back and exchange it back, is there a tax? No, there's a spread, but there's no tax. You were just in Jamaica. What money do they use in Jamaica?
American.
Oh, they use American. Have you been out of the country lately? In the last few years, I was in.
I always, everywhere I've gone, I've used American currency, even though they claim that you're not able to. So everywhere I've gone, I've been able to use USD.
Okay. When was I in Morocco? That's probably a long time ago. I've been all over. When I was in England, I didn't pay tax on my exchange.
I think what will happen is, because our government is greedy,
Sure.
I will say that, you're going to see a tax law come out when you start seeing people cash in their currency. Now, it's not like that today, but it can be changed at any given time.
Absolutely. Ingram from the Dinar Group. Ingram, call in if you want to. Wait a minute. Zymus, great question. What was Zymus's question?
You just answered it.
Oh, okay.
About the taxes, what we're discussing right now.
Babe is also going to talk to you guys on Wednesday about annuities and about trust. She knows a lot about that and has worked heavily in that, been licensed at one point, and she will discuss that with you. My other friend, George, is going to talk to you guys about the ISX. I'll pre-warn you, ISX involvement, if you're going to do it, you have to have about $10,000 to get in. If you don't, Dottie said, April, get you some rest. She needs rest every night. She's got her beauty sleep on, y'all. How can I get out of time out? Lucas, I don't know. John, isn't there a buy rate and a sell rate? No, there's not. There's no such thing. There's a rate and a spread. That's it. I'm telling you guys now, there's no rate and then a backroom rate and a green rate and a yellow rate and a blue rate. There's a rate.
Say his question again.
His rate was, isn't there a sell rate and a buy rate? No. When you go to exchange, there's a rate and a rate.
Well, let me take that back. If you go to Exchange of America, right?
Right.
There's two different rates when you buy and then when you sell.
But is that currency international?
I don't know. But even the same thing with, so remember when I was going to buy the Vietnamese dong from Chase?
Right.
So the actual rate that was on the internet,
right,
versus the rate Chase Bank gave me was two different rates.
And the rate was lower, right?
No, it was higher. Why? Okay. Because they're looking to make money off.
Right. So, but if you go to exchange the sterling pound against the dollar, going and coming, it's probably darn near the same.
So what I'm saying
for your exchange to buy.
What I'm saying is financial institutions has a tendency to embed a rate. So the customer truly does not see it when they cash in their currency, right, or when they sell their currency.
And what's that called? The spread. That's the spread. Now, if you're buying or selling enough of the spread, you can negotiate it.
So yes, that is. So this question is correct, right? What he's asking is there a buy and sell rate? And there is.
Well, I guess the answer would be yes. And that rate is negotiable. If you got enough of any one commodity, you can negotiate.
But there is a rate. And when that rate gets released, like if you go to Forex and look versus the rate that they're going to give you in the bank, different.
Correct. That's the spread. Their spread. Montel says, thanks for sharing dinar details and specifics. Other gurus. I'm not a guru. We're trying us like crackheads and dummies for the last 6 years. They're still giving out false info and hopium. I'm not a guru. Stop calling me that, Mr. Brando. What was that last one? I can't see it.
Which one? The one on Montel Jennings?
Yeah, I guess.
It says, Mr. Brando and John, thanks for sharing the dinar details and specifics. Other gurus were trying us like crackheads and dummies for the last 6 years. They still giving out false info and hopium.
Yeah, because they play us like suckers. It's like me saying to you guys, all you guys right now, if you believe in all what I'm saying, pass the ghost and send me $1. If you send me $1, God will forgive you. That's not true. Nothing's true like that. Don't believe that crap. Stand up. My goal in all of this, when I got started in this, because no one gave a crap about what I was thinking, was for me to become a free thinker, to think on my own. You know, that's the one thing I admire 365 for, even though I don't, admonish a lot of his teachings. He said, think like a boss. And I enjoyed that because it's true. Think for yourself and you'll never be broke.
Okay, we're close to the hour. B-Tech says, can you please go over what you answered earlier on Facebook, Article 8, and how that would prevent a lot of the 3 zeros in the note?
Because Article 8 is their acceptance of the international status of their currency, period. That's it. Article 8 is the acceptance of their status of their currency being international, period. There's no lop. There will not be a lop on the Iraqi dinar.
So will the dong go when the dinar goes?
No, they'll go successively. I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to say that like that. I don't believe that. That's not my belief. John said that, and I love John. John says that, and that's his belief. That's his thing. I don't say I'm right and he's wrong. I'm saying that his belief and my belief are different. I don't think so. There's not anything as such thing as a basket of currencies that are going to go together. Life doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Google, Facebook, and YouTube all don't decide we're going to increase our stock today. It doesn't work that way. A currency is a commodity just like pork bellies or water or whatever. And that doesn't make me smart and John dumb or anything else. It just makes it different. That's it. There'll be no state of emergency. There'll be no wall differential. I'm going out there right now. I'll be stupid. None of that's going to happen. I know people out there that adamant believe that, and they send me everyday proof from their intel. But y'all, I'm telling you, it's not that complicated.
Dwayne says Kuwait was not an RV.
No, it wasn't. It was a revaluation of their currency. I keep telling you, there's no such thing as an RV. There's no such thing as an RV. It's a reinstatement of their currency, not an RV. So if the dong is going to be about $1, wouldn't that be better play for exchange rate? Depends on you. I'd want to see a free market float and see what it does. The thing about the dong and their credit rating is it's better than Iraq. That's why I'm telling you guys it's a good play. I'm not telling you it's a good play because of the dragon family or mystical beast. I'm saying look at their credit rating, look at their upswing, look at their.
What is their credit rating?
It's a B. It's a B minus, BB1, B minus.
So isn't that the same as?
It's Iraq? Different. Iraq's is actually lower than Vietnam's.
Okay.
A break. We all need a break. I want to buy an island. I'm going to buy an island.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock.
Okay, guys, it's 10 o'clock. Miss BB's tired. I hope this was informative. I hope I showed you guys how there is a system. I hope I showed you how it can be broken because everything is an algorithm. Everything is an equation. Everything has everything to do with mathematics. Everything has to do with sense, okay? I'm not going to hit you with sensationalism. I'm going to hit you with the real. I love you guys. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. If you don't, go to Mr. Brando on Facebook. Y'all, and here's another thing. I'm going to end it with this. There's not going to be any secret group. There's not going to be any secret. If you want to donate money, donate it. Great. I'm going to reinvest it back into you guys and give it back to someone who needs it, that's in here impoverished, that can't help themselves. I'm not going to keep it. I don't want anything. All I want is everybody to be safe, be happy, be wealth, be wise, and buyer beware. Thank you, guys.
Good night.